Yes, guys, welcome to Chasing Green Arrows. We are back with our midweek Wednesday special. This is going to be like one of our Monday shows. I kind of look back at the week just gone, of course, always looking ahead too. I'm Janey and I'm joined by co-host Mr. Dean Jones. Dean, how are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. I'm extremely tired. I've been in London. I was at London Zoo today. It's Easter holidays, obviously, so you're always looking for stuff to do with the kids. It's exhausting, absolutely exhausting. One, London Zoo really isn't that. I didn't realise it was actually quite a long way away from where, like Waterloo Station. It's windy. It's a bit rainy. The kids were good, but obviously they whine a few times. Then you've got to get home. You've got to mate, knackered. And we've got Champions League tonight too. So, I can't go to bed after this stream. I've got to stay up. Got some big football to watch. And your boys are playing Real Madrid.
Yeah, I'm not expecting much from that. It's good. It's nice to do we're doing this earlier stream tonight because of the Champions League later. And I know loads of you will be watching on catch up. But for those of you joining live, it's good to see some new faces because when we do these time slots, we always get a new wave of sort of support. So Graham from Miami and Tinker from Sweden. We don't often see you guys in the chat. So good to see you as well as our regulars, our chasers, Heather and Christine. And who else did I see? Tiffany's there and Eddie and Nuclear Atoms. So good to see. Super Duper's in from South Africa as well. Super Duper. I didn't know you were in South Africa.
That's cool.
Does Ireland count as cool, says Heather? Ireland definitely counts as cool.
It does. It does. Of course it does.
Mate, you mentioned getting to London Zoo. When you've got kids, especially, don't you feel like the London station you arrive in at, it's so nice to do stuff near that hub rather than travelling across? So for me, anything near King's Cross is great because it's like I've then not got to schlep through London. As if you come into Waterloo, do you?
Yeah, yes. I mean,
which they're probably one of the better ones in terms of how central you are to stuff.
Yeah, it's great. It turns out London Zoo is up near Camden Town.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was decent. Luckily, I've been in a reasonably good mood because there's another load of green arrows for me this week, mate. So
nice.
I've been on quite a nice roll, I have to say. The last 4 or 5 game weeks, I've definitely been happy with the direction I've been heading in. I'm sure you will remember I was sinking like a stone. I think I got down to 1.5 million in overall rank, and I was like, this is actually getting quite embarrassing.
Yeah, it was like a couple of weeks after the World Cup. Both of us had a few stinkers, but yeah,
it was just like every decision not paying off. Now I'm up to 600,000, and I'm
Much
like,
better.
okay, like team's looking better, feeling better. No chips, but I seem pretty well prepared for what's to come. And yeah, a couple of things to tinker with. Like Kai Havertz will not be in my team anymore.
Same. He won't be in my 11. He might be in my squad, but yeah.
Maybe, yeah. But and Kepa, I don't think I'm going to trust that either. The Lampard effect didn't work. That's it. Like that was. I mean, unless he pulls off something somehow tonight, the one thing Lampard should give you is an emotional bounce because that's what he's supposed to be good at, motivating.
Yeah.
They lost at Wolves, so unless that's coming tonight against Real Madrid, that it ain't coming at all, in my opinion. Anyway, that's just where I am on it, and I don't see what he's going to give this Chelsea team that the last 2 managers between them haven't been able to get out of this squad. Like, why Lampard? Doesn't make sense to me.
I'm with you there, mate. I think Chelsea assets are all a sell. Even for those of us that are on Chilwell this week, let's see if he starts versus Real Madrid. If he does, there's a good chance he's rested. The turnaround time for Chelsea is 6 days between 2 Real Madrid games. That Brighton fixture, we're going to see mass rotation for those that Lampard wants to play in both Madrid games. Good to see in the chat. We've got Sav, Henry Saville, who's greetings from Lanzarote. He's about to have an alfresco dinner. Love that. Very jealous. It's
very
sunny
jealous
here, but it was just like it was almost like sleep about half an hour ago. Loads looking to get rid of Havertz. I get that. Eddie says, we'll answer that later if we can, dear Eddie. Questions from Nuclear about Real Madrid Chelsea. I don't want to talk too much because most of you who will get on this video will be post Chelsea Real Madrid. There'll be people watching tonight or tomorrow morning, but I'm not expecting much. Are you, Dean? Like from Chelsea, it would be a huge shock.
It would. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like Real Madrid aren't having the best season ever. Like far from it. But what they do is turn up in big moments and big games, and they seem like a cup team this season. Into the Copa del Rey final. Fancy their chances now in the Champions League too, and they all feel like, okay, Barcelona are going to win La Liga. But if we do the cup double, the Copa del Rey and the Champions League, we've still had a better season than them.
Yeah.
So that'll be their motivation right now. Ancelotti, I think, will carefully plot this one. I mean, Ancelotti against Frank Lampard. That is
It's brutal, that.
That is a mismatch. That really is a mismatch of brains. Lampard, don't get me wrong, great footballer. But his managerial credentials are not there so far, are they?
They're not, and it pains me to admit that. Let's move on. Oh, FPL focus. Chelsea's great records historically, but Chelsea not nowhere near their best. And Real Madrid always find a way. They do, and they've got match winners in their team. I don't even know what Chelsea are going to line up as. Like, I don't even know the formation, let alone the personnel.
Yeah, Vinicius Jr. Honestly, like this guy, when he is on, he is on. Like, I wish he was on all the time.
Yeah, because he's like a top 3 player in the world on his day, isn't he?
On his day, yeah. No, as much as I love him, I can't defend him on the fact that he does go missing.
Consistency,
yeah. So that's a bit annoying. But if he fancies it, then nobody's safe ever. So he likes to decide big games and big moments, as Real Madrid like to live. Nuclear says, I'm too tired of being nervous about Chelsea because our players gave up La Liga to put all their eggs in the UCL basket. When our players care, I've seen them do extraordinary things, and that's exactly it. And that's the Real Madrid DNA. And it has been in Chelsea's locker at times. Like, there's no doubt about that. Where's that character now at Chelsea? Like, I don't know if it's even there. I don't know what the identity of Chelsea is anymore. And I've spoken to people around the club, and I think that is a big worry, especially when there's talk of people like Mason Mount leaving. That is another like intrinsic part of the club, that, especially a connection with the fans, that would disappear. Personally, I don't think Mason Mount will end up leaving, especially now that he's probably going to get some game time and might be able to talk things around in terms of his contract. So I actually think Mount will end up staying. But yeah, the disconnect between fans and team and management has just been weird. And that's why I don't think they're going to win the Champions League.
Yeah.
People are going to be watching this on playback, and Chelsea have just beaten Real Madrid 3-0, just laughing at me.
Make sure you drop a comment in the video below if Chelsea have gone completely against what our predictions have. Guys, coming up in today's show, we're going to be talking about some eye test scouting from the weekend just gone. I've got some nuggets for you there. Dean's got notebook. We're going to do bonus beasts as well as look back at how our teams got on and talk about future plans. And always at the end, time for your questions, because last couple of shows we've had so much on, we've not had enough time at the end to do a bit of a Q&A. So we had Ian Irvin on Friday night, and it was such a great show. But when you realize we've got a guest, when you've got 3 people on, fitting in our normal run order is difficult, and it's brilliant. And I think the content on Friday night show, go back and watch it. A lot of it is still timeless stuff.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
I was so happy with that show. I thought it was brilliant. But yeah, unfortunately, we didn't get time to do all the Q&A.
Yeah, I liked that we had insight on a specific area too. To have United and City knowledge like direct like that is good. Like, obviously, my job is to be across like everything, and like I do my best to do that. But like some people's job is to do the opposite of that and just literally cover a team or a region. And you just get different insight on both sides of that, So I'm always interested, and I love speaking to club reporters because they just know everything, the ins and outs of every presser and every interview, and they see little snippets of things that have gone on. That's interesting. I mean, talking about little snippets of things that have gone on, have you seen the news from Bayern Munich today?
Oh, I just saw that.
Yeah, Mane punches Sané by the sound of it.
Mane versus Sané.
So yeah, might actually address that in the notebook in a minute, because there might be a little spin on that we should look out for. But yeah, I mean, Bayern absolutely humiliated, weren't they? A terrible performance all round. Nagelsmann will be very, very relieved that his name is not attached to a result and a performance like that. So
it was that
well
15-minute spell when City scored 2 or maybe 3 goals, and then like it would just look like they had collapsed. And Upamecano with some of his passing, but the keeper too. And this isn't a Bayern keeper like Jan Sommer's only there because it was an emergency buy in the end. But he's clearly an okay shot stopper or a good shot stopper, but so not comfortable playing out for the back.
Yeah, totally that. By the way, Martial, FPL Focus asks, he said, Martial killed me last time. Can I give Martial one more chance? Interesting one, this, that he's back on the radar now. But I'm going to say no. Don't trust him to stay injury-free. I think Weghorst will still get too many minutes to trust that Martial gets run out. Look, if Rashford's definitely out, then maybe Martial does end up playing on the left. Not sure though, because you've got Jadon Sancho in the mix too at the moment. I personally like Martial might end up hanging around for another season on the back of this, but just don't trust the guy.
With injured players, I'm always like, no, it's fine. Buy an injured player that's fit because they're not injured till they're injured, and then you sell them. Like, we shouldn't be put off players like, I know, Danny Ings has had some good times, but people have always gone, no, he's always injured, can't buy him. It's like, no, when he's fit, pick him. But with Martial, it's slightly different. I'm literally just like, if you buy him, he will get injured next week because this guy cannot string 3 games together, ever. I just couldn't go there, even with him being a very good asset on his day when he's fit. Like, Man United have a double game week in 34. If he's fit and firing by then, there's a very good chance, even if he's fit and firing, he can't play twice in that week because they'll have to wrap him up in cotton wool. So it's just too big a gamble.
I think so, totally.
Yeah, I think I'm with you there. Well, let's move on. We're going to go my eye test report first, then the notebook. Then we got some bonus beats and teams and answering your questions throughout, as always. So do get your questions in and we'll pop them up on screen throughout the show. So first up, let's have a look at my notebook. My eye test report for the weekend just gone. Love that. You guys saw my sort of awkward pause as we're
it's like on the news when it doesn't quite come up when they're supposed to. You're like,
shuffling their papers. Shuffle your papers for longer.
Yeah, look at a computer screen that doesn't exist. Yeah, things like that.
Fake click your computer screen. There we go. Fortunately, on this show, we like to laugh at ourselves, so we're cool with that. Guys, I want to pick out some performances off the back of the weekend just gone. I'm going to give some obvious ones. I'm going to give a couple of non-obvious as well. Let's start with an obvious one because it's a guy that everyone's talking about this week in terms of an FPL option to buy, and that is Jack Grealish. Loads will be on Maddison, and I'll be selling him to Jack Grealish. Loads will be on Rashford, and I'll be selling him to Jack Grealish. If you don't have either of those guys, it might be a difficult sell. It might be a difficult buy. You might not have that midfield spot available. I'd think twice before selling Rashford to bring him in, but my argument there would be Grealish is scoring points now, bring him in your team, and then bring back Rashford later.
Yeah,
I'm not going to be selling Rashford, but I already own Grealish. It's slightly different. The reason we're talking about Grealish is because he has been phenomenal of late. And that fixture again against Southampton, again, I think he was player of the match, which was 2 in a row in the Premier League. Goal, assist. That left-hand slot is nailed. He is nailed, especially with Foden out injured. And even when Foden's back, we see Foden play a lot on the other side. He's flying at the moment. And to have just Haaland, knowing City are so good, scoring so many points, scoring so many goals, feels like they can score 4 or 5 goals a game, doesn't it? Yeah. Having Haaland alone isn't enough. And the points are there. And finally, we're seeing Grealish step into this role because I think for a long time, he was playing with he was a little bit more conservative. We weren't necessarily seeing the goals and the assists at the start of the season. Well, now his confidence is up. He's driving more towards goal. He's playing closer to the goal and he's taking players on and he's super, super confident. I mean, Dean, you must be super impressed with how he's performing of late. Even last night, I thought he was great against Bayern.
Yeah, I mean, this was one of the things Ian was talking about the other day too, wasn't it? I'm annoyed actually that because obviously we were talking about I didn't have another transfer to use last week and really considered bringing Grealish in. He was the only consideration I really had. I just wasn't sure who to take out. And to be fair, it might have been Martinelli that I took out, so maybe it wasn't a bad thing anyway because I didn't exactly lose too much. But he's just brilliant. It's, when you've got a player in his position, happy and in form and confident, anything can happen. It's this week on ranks actually in our podcast, we did this thing where we kind of rank the top 3s across Europe, and what that means is the top 3 we would pick from each league if they were to play together. And in the Premier League, it was pretty straightforward because we had Haaland and Saka as absolutely nailed on.
Yeah.
And I thought Rashford would be nailed on from the left, to be honest, but we actually had quite a debate around it. And I was like, do you know what? I think Grealish is actually the guy that I might put, because there was a lot of conversation, obviously, about Martinelli as the best left-sided player in the league, and I totally get it. apart from Rashford. And Grealish has to be considered here, especially if he was to be playing with Haaland in a front three. Like that link up is going to be building now.
Yeah, that front three, I would want Grealish because you get that direct running from Saka that perhaps Rashford offers you. So I guess it comes down to who's the manager, what the tactics are, and what team you're in. But the balance of a Saka, Haaland, Grealish front three would be insane. And it is funny because I think it's very unlikely to ever happen. Hasn't City been linked with Saka in the past? I think he's a big fan, isn't he, Pep?
He really is. Yeah, he is. Obviously, Saka's not going to be leaving now in the near future. I think if Arsenal would have faded this season and Saka wasn't going to sign that contract, I really do think City would be going all out to go and get him. Yeah. But it won't happen now. But look, Saka's a star boy, isn't he? He can do no wrong.
Yeah, if they'd finished fifth. But yeah, Arsenal now, firing on all fronts. So the other eye test report, Grealish obviously caught my eye and I bought him in. So it was nice watching that. Lovely watching that. The other player, last week, I think I mentioned Eze. And I said, look, Palace, they're shooting on sight. Very different under Hodgson.
You brought in Eze?
No, I didn't bring Eze in. But I think I recommended Eze in the eye test report.
Okay. Yeah.
And against Leeds in the first half, they weren't brilliant. But then they went and scored 5 in the second half at Ellen Road. It's like, okay, this Roy Hodgson team, shooting on sight versus Leicester, shooting on sight versus Leeds, they are scoring goals. And Eze scored, and it was brilliant. But the eye test report this week comes at Elise. A hat-trick of assists, looked perhaps a tad brighter than Eze, but the two of them just playing for fun at the moment. They look like they are playing street football with their mates in the cages. And they are so, so good when they link up together. Jordan Ayew looks like a different man under Roy Hodgson, bit of a favourite of his. But with Zaha out the team, the focus definitely comes off that left-hand flank and it's more of a team contribution. And you see Eze free-flowing in the 10. Elise on the right, always cutting in on his left foot. His delivery is insane. Set-piece threat, but also just open play threat for assists. And I think the goals will come with Elise. So next season, for me, I think he'll be someone, either Eze or Elise, probably Elise for that added assist threat. I think there's a good chance they'll be cheap FPL assets next year. And if they're scoring goals, they'll be sort of a good fifth choice midfielder. But yeah, really impressed by Palace yet again. And the fixtures are there for Palace. I don't think they've got a blank. They've got some good fixtures coming up. I think we'll see plenty of goals. And I think it will come often from those midfielders. So yeah, keep your eyes on Palace for the running.
Yeah, don't know they'll score 5 every week, but Roy, he surprised everyone with these goals that they're getting. Ultimately, I think he's just very sure of himself and he's confident in his ability to make little tweaks that change games. And he managed to outwit Javi Gracia in that particular fixture because it was just tiny tweaks. It was like Eze, just play more advanced. First half, you were too withdrawn. Elise, you need to get on the ball more, be more dynamic in that area on the right. And both of them did that and to devastating effect. And Leeds just couldn't handle it. So, yeah, very, very interesting. He was really big on Jordan Ayew as well. I don't know if you heard Roy talking after that Palace game, but he was like, he made a point of talking about Jordan Ayew. Nobody asked about him. And he was like, look, we need to talk about this. He said, I was very surprised. This was a bit weird. He said, after the game, he told me how many goals he scored this season. Like, Roy Hodgson literally didn't know who had been scoring goals. He said, I was surprised. I thought you'd have had more than that because he's a very good player. He said, and he's going to score a lot more goals for me, I think, in the time that I'm here. I was like, oh, that's interesting because I think Jordan Ayew is generally not that good. But if you're saying he's going to score some goals for you, then maybe I need to look out for him.
That is good to hear. Yeah, I think he's had 1 goal all season before the 2 he got against Leeds. Yeah. I remember from his first spell, he played Ayew a lot, Roy Hodgson. He played him on the left, but also up front. The thing is, if he's going to play Edouard up front, or Mateta, he's going to have a number 9. And Zaha's fit on the left. And I can't see where Ayew gets in, but I guess we're assuming Zaha's still going to be out for a while. And then Ayew might move into the 9 channel. He is, by the way, listed as a midfielder. 5.2 million. So, yeah, 0.3% owned. Maybe there's a differential. He's cheaper than Eze and Elise just. They're both 5.4. So Palace are an interesting option possibly for the run-in and attack. We didn't think that when Roy came in. We thought we might go for Palace defender. That'll be it. But 7 goals in 2 games is impressive.
Definitely.
Let's move on to my final eye test report. And look, this is a fairly obvious one. We all watched the Arsenal versus Liverpool game. Mo Salah was back, and I know Mo Salah missed a penalty and he's missed a target on his last 2 pens. So could he lose pens for 1 or 2? Maybe Fabinho, who's got an amazing record for Fabinho. I think he took him at Monaco. Could he come on, if he's on the pitch, could he take the next one? I don't know. But with or without pens, I look at the Liverpool fixtures and think, how do I get Mo Salah back into my team? Because I need Liverpool attack. The Liverpool fixtures are insane. They are not in any cup competition.
Yeah.
They're always in European football at this point in the season. So they're actually getting a week on the training ground pretty much every week. They're preparing for 1 game a week. They're not travelling. They're fresh. I still think Liverpool will be backing themselves for top 4. And I still think we are definitely going to need a Liverpool asset or 2 between now and game week 34 when they have a good double. If you don't have a free hit in 32, I think you should definitely be targeting Liverpool now, because you'd be up on those that do free hit in 32, perhaps like me, that aren't looking to bring them into 34. Salah's the obvious candidate. I mean, he's shooting on sight. I don't think he's ever had. I think he accumulated an XG of over 2 alone. And I think I saw a stat like he's had more shots this season than any other at this point.
Yeah, I just can't find a way to accommodate. I'm looking at exactly that, and in the last couple of days, I've just been flicking through, just testing a couple of things on my team, and like it's so difficult to know which Liverpool assets I would want for that opportunity. You know that. And you're right, like Salah is the one, but like he's 12 odd million, and it's like,
can we get to another attacking player to try and cover some of those points? But we're just worried about the fear of rotation. Like Jota and Diaz will share minutes, but is Gakpo the option then, Dean? He's a midfielder. He's around 8 million. He's surely going to start in the number 9 role mostly. I don't think Bobby's going to start many, is he?
Might be. Again, it is a bit of a risk. Chat Sports saying Gakpo for him at the moment. So, yeah, there's definitely potential with that one. I've really got to consider that, because obviously I am in the situation where I haven't got a free hit to come. And I was looking through, obviously, like which teams to target, and Liverpool is the most obvious one if we decide we can trust them.
Yeah. Game week 33, Harry Kane plays Man United. And Liverpool play West Ham. That could be a switch where you either take a hit or you make it over 2 moves, 33 and 34, to go Kane out, Salah in. Kane doesn't have a double game week like Salah does in 34. So I think many of us will end up going from Kane to Salah over a week or 2 weeks, depending on not if we want to take the hit. Kane goes Newcastle 32, United 33, Liverpool 34. It's 3 very tricky games for Kane versus Salah, who has Forest, West Ham, and then a double of Tottenham and Liverpool. So I think we'll probably end up having to use the money. But then it's like, whose spot does it occupy? Let's assume every team has got double Brighton midfield. They've all got Rashford, and let's say they're holding him. And then they might have a Grealish, because everyone's buying him this week. And I've got a Bruno, but one other. Who do you sell out of those 5 to occupy? In a way, if Rashford's out for double game week 34, it could be a blessing, because then we can also sell Rashford for Salah.
True. Yeah, that is true. I was actually, that's literally what I was looking at as the player I was transferring out at the time, thinking, this is probably the way I get there, I guess. I've got 2 transfers anyway, so I could make a bit more money elsewhere. Yeah, that probably is the route. And it doesn't look great for Rashford, does it? It doesn't seem like it's looking too good for him.
Yeah, I don't want to steal your thunder in the notebook, Dean, but the quote today was a few games. So it's like, how many's a few? And I think we'll learn more next week, but their double game week in 34 is 18 days away. So it's game 6. They've got 5 games before that. I'd like to think a few is fewer than 5, but maybe
hopefully it's 3. Hopefully that's what they mean. But
yeah, we're lucky because there's loads of cup games in there for United. So right, let's move on to Dean's notebook, and after that we'll be showing our teams.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I've actually gone a little bit off piece this week because we're doing a midweek show. I thought rather than, I'm going to be doing injury news in a couple of days anyway. I thought, I'm going to look at some transfer news. There's a bit going on. Nice. Let's have a bit of a chat about some situations that are opening up. And obviously, like Jude Bellingham is one that's really been on my radar the last couple of days. it was interesting yesterday to see Liverpool media and fans getting very excited about the fact they thought he'd chosen them, and then 9 o'clock at night, all the Liverpool guys that are briefed on Liverpool stories drop that Liverpool are no longer going to pursue Jude Bellingham. Now, look, I'll be honest, like, this wasn't a massive surprise to me. I didn't ever think they would be able to afford him anyway. And given their form, I didn't think he would really be choosing them above other teams. And people that I speak to, and obviously you only get certain insight on this depending on what your contacts are, but they suggested me that Liverpool weren't the front runners anyway.
Okay.
So he's not joining Liverpool, certainly not this summer anyway. So that tells you a couple of things. One, Jude Bellingham still has the prospect of staying at Dortmund for another season, and he's never discounted that. But Dortmund have had a pretty bad month going out of the Champions League. They went out of the German Cup. I think it was to Leipzig in that game, and they lost to Bayern Munich, which pushed them off the top of Bundesliga. Yeah. So those games all came in quick succession, and Dortmund's season is kind of teetering on an edge right now, and they could fall off the cliff. So by the end of this month anyway, I was expecting to get a pretty good feel of what Bellingham was going to do. I'm told that Man City is the place he'll end up if he does come to England. There are a few reasons for that, but one, they've got a plan in place. It's Pep's going to be the manager. This is the way they'll be playing. They're still going to be building. Two, Haaland has gone from Dortmund to Man City, fitted into the environment, spoke well of the whole process, likes that. And obviously, Man City can actually afford to sign Jude Bellingham, both the fee and the wages. So it's all there from a Man City point of view. Then there's Real Madrid, which we'll have to factor in as and when that comes. But it's interesting to what Liverpool do on the flip of this. Like, they're not getting Jude Bellingham. Where do they turn? I think they'll sign 2 midfielders this summer. I think they'll get a DM and an 8 or an advanced midfielder of some type. Mason Mount, somebody that keeps getting linked with Liverpool. I'm not convinced of that because I think he'll personally end up staying at Chelsea. I don't think the club can allow for something like that to happen. Things have already been bad enough. They've made enough bad decisions in the last 7 months that they can't allow one of their homegrown players to go and join a rival. That's just going to upset everybody. So I would look out for that. But yeah, it's an interesting situation. I do want to see Jude Bellingham in English football, but if it's not now, it's not now. I think Liverpool's hope will be that he sees it out for another year, and maybe they're in a better position in a year's time to actually go and get him. But I think it's Man City, if I'm honest.
He's perfect. With Gundogan leaving as well, he just slots in so well to that team. Could Liverpool sign Barella? Because they've been linked with Barella a lot in the Italian press in the last year or two. And it's all every summer, it's like Inter have to sell 1 star to kind of balance the books.
Yeah.
And Lukaku went and
it's
it could be the one that they have to sell this year. I'm hoping that they had to sell Hakimi. But he's so, like, again, last night, Barella's was class.
I just don't see him leaving. He's one of those players, like, whenever the transfer's cropped up again, I just feel like, is he really going to leave Inter though?
Yeah.
I don't think he will. Like, it's a bit like when Lautaro gets linked every summer.
Yeah.
He's like, going to go, is he? Like, sure, he's like got a decision to make, but ultimately he's going to stay. And I feel like Barella and Lautaro kind of in the same, you know?
Yeah, I would like that very much. I really hope they do stay. And that Inter team decent.
Yeah, totally. Just to talk about another one. I mean, Arsenal. Obviously, they're in a proper title race now. I mean, it's going to make things tough for us in FPL to weigh up, what we go stronger with here. Is our hunch with City? Is our hunch with Arsenal? Because it's going to impact on the players we pick. I mean, there is a spell when Arsenal have a 4-game period that's very tricky. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's something like Newcastle,
it's brutal, isn't it?
Chelsea.
City.
Yeah, I can't remember the other games, but it's a 4-run game. Run of games. I'm not sure I'm going to want 3 Arsenal assets. And now that City are coming into that period, City obviously are one of the games. I just think City are going to beat them. But
it's in both their hands now.
It's a
like
weird one.
the title's in both their hands with 8 game weeks to go. That is pretty cool because they play each other. But I'm with you. I look at the fixtures. I can't see how Arsenal win it.
I mean, you just watched that game last. Arsenal have been so good this season. I get it, but what happened at the weekend? Zinchenko, to see him like that, I've never seen that before. And then Man City to play the way they've been playing anyway in the Premier League, and then to also just turn over Bayern Munich like it's nothing is weird. But in terms of Arsenal, I think they're going to sign 4 players in the summer, like first team players. Arteta's going to be given a good amount of money to go and spend. We're looking at a fullback, preferably a versatile one, 2 midfielders and a wide forward. Declan Rice, obviously the big name that they want to check out early in the window to see what the pricing is going to be around that. They're not just going to pay whatever it takes to get Declan Rice, but they do want him, and he's very interested in going there. Now, with the Mane and Sané fight,
Oh, yeah.
this got me thinking Sané to Arsenal.
Ooh, I'd love Sané back in the Premier League.
I was like, that could be a good fit. They've been interested in him before. Sané, there have already, for a lot of this season, been doubts about whether he continues at Bayern beyond this point. Obviously, they've had a managerial change, which you thought might change things. Still hasn't been like majorly a part of it, but is figuring. And now Mane's annoyed at him and seemingly has hit him after the game. Now, if that situation is going to open up, I think Arsenal should be in that conversation to try and sign Leroy Sané.
Yeah.
As long as his personality is okay, and as long as his character isn't going to rock the dressing room and the other players aren't going to want to punch him too, then I think that could be a really interesting way to move that forward. So, look, I'm speculating here. If you're watching this video, you're trying to nick some quotes to make a news story. There's nothing to see at the moment because I'm just making this up. But in the past, there has been interest. There looks like there's a situation here, and Sané could leave. I think Arsenal should go.
Yeah, they've got a bit of a reputation, Arsenal, buying German players in recent years. Lehmann, Mertesacker, Podolski, Ozil. Loads of Germans have gone to Arsenal.
They like ex-City players too, because they know the way to play.
They like ex-City. Did Arteta, was he a City coach when Sané was there? Because the only thing that puts me off that idea is Pep's told Arteta he's a rotten egg, happy to sell him. And it's like, oh, do we want to buy this rotten egg? We like the good eggs like Zinchenko and Jesus. But I like that idea, mate. I saw today as well, see it every bloody transfer window. Zaha has been linked with Arsenal, which might feel a little bit more sensible because when you're looking at wide forwards, it's going to be really tricky to start ahead of Martinelli or Saka, and Trossard's a nice backup option, and Zaha would be too. Yeah, obviously Sané is going to want to start every game, but Zaha wouldn't be happy on the bench either and could upset the dressing room. But
yeah, definitely.
Where do you think he'll end up this summer? Because is he available on a free, Zaha?
He's not available on a free. Yeah,
finally.
I mean, he's been offering absolutely ridiculous money to go to Saudi Arabia. 2 clubs there. Who are first and second in the league, both interested in signing him, and he would earn absolutely extraordinary money. So I have to say, I won't blame him if he decides to take that and go there. If not, there's interest from him in France, interest in Germany, and there are Premier League clubs that would be interested too. I'm not convinced Arsenal is where he would end up. Interesting that somebody just dropped in that Havertz is on the bench for Chelsea. I'm just trying to get up my internet, which suddenly is not working on my phone, but just want to double check that before we start talking about it.
It's early team news, isn't it? You've got an hour and a half to kick off. I know they go earlier in the champs, don't they?
They do indeed. It does look exactly like that, though. Yeah, just say, look, sorry, I'm just going on live score. Havertz is not in the starting 11. So that's interesting. Doesn't actually look like they got 3 forwards playing. Looks like they got a 2 of Felix and Sterling.
Oh, it looks like they're back to wing backs.
Yeah.
With Thiago Silva coming in.
Silva's back in. They've gone wing backs, and then they got Enzo, Kante, and Kovacic in the middle.
Wow, that's a
and João Felix. That's big midfield, and then João Felix and Sterling up top. So
that's
actually pretty big news. Yeah,
it's like a 3-5-2 then. Yeah, okay. And really interesting at the Napoli news. We thought this could happen. No, number 9, Simone. Simone and Raspadori are both injured as well as Osimhen. There was hope that Raspadori would make it, but looks like Kvaratskhelia is going to be playing false 9, which apparently he's had a little trial of in training. But that's far from ideal for Napoli as well.
Yeah, especially as they got absolutely smashed by Milan. Last week before?
2 weeks ago, yeah, it's
Yeah,
4-0.
absolutely battered them. So, Napoli need to kind of get some revenge here and say, look, that was just a one-off. We've won the league already. We're not worried about that. This is our tournament. I fancy Milan here. I already did. They've got to win the first leg, Milan, if they're going to stand any chance of getting through in this one. Really, really big fixture that. So it was very likely anyway. Obviously, Osimhen wasn't going to play, but Osimhen didn't play last time, and they lost, as we say, by 4 to Milan. So that's really interesting. No Havertz. That honestly underlines me now getting rid of him, I think.
Yeah, but could he come on and score a goal?
Maybe, but
and then for the weekend,
if Lampard's dropping him at Real Madrid, then he obviously has a feeling on this.
Mate, all I needed for FPL and selling Havertz was against Wolves. He played 61 minutes and came off. And under Potter, Havertz was a 90-minute man. He was kind of the only front three player you knew was going to start each week. Felix likely, but often subbed early. Havertz was 90, 90, 90. And then Lampard's first game, 61 minutes. You're like, okay, even when he starts, he's not going to get 90. So yeah, I'm with you. Like, I can't see me selling Havertz this week because I'm not going to sell him on a hit. But I think he'll be on my bench a huge amount.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, let's move on. We got our bonus beast feature. We're going to show our teams how we got on and then answer your questions as well. We can probably take a couple of questions now, a couple of quick fire ones. Yeah. Is Matheus Cunha a viable option, says FPL Wolves? I don't think so. It was a wonder goal, but one, I think that was his first, and two, Wolves just don't score enough. Let's have a look. Zaha is the perfect Spurs player, says Chat Sport. Yeah, I could maybe see Daniel Levy wanting a free. What other questions have we got? Loads letting us know about Havertz. Thank you guys for that. Harry's joined the chat. Good to see Harry.
There's one down the bottom from Michael. He says, is it worth -4 on Maddison to Grealish and Chilwell to Trent? Exact cash. Going to want Trent anyway by 34, and Chilwell may get rested between the Madrid games.
I don't mind that move. I saw Maddison on a hit last week for Grealish. I think I'm okay with that. And I'm with you. With what do you think, Dean? With Chilwell starting tonight and Reece James, it's if they go okay tonight, or even if they don't, if we assume they're both going to start against Real Madrid in 6 days' time, are James and Chilwell risked against Brighton?
I mean, you can't leave both of them out.
True. But Reece James can't play 3 times in 6 days.
Reece James, I don't think can, but I think Chilwell probably can.
Chilwell can. Yeah. And he was rested last time out, Chilwell, against Wolves, wasn't he?
Like, Lampard, he might be like, if I win the Champions League, I'm a hero again here, but he can't just like lose every Premier League game in between. And that Brighton game is a really difficult fixture, especially given that area of the pitch is where Brighton create a lot of their chances. So I don't think he actually will leave out Chilwell now.
Yeah, fair point. Guys, thank you so much for being with us this evening. Bit disappointed though, because only 33 of you have hit that like button.
Even I'm going to give it a like now. There you go. I'm going to like it.
Not many have subscribed either, Dean. So look, if you're new around here, hit that subscribe button. We usually go live on Mondays and Fridays. Wednesday night's a little bit different for us. We will be back on Friday with our deadline stream as well, Friday at 7. But for now, thank you guys for hitting that like button and of course subscribing. Let's move on to see how we got on with our teams last week. Good week, Dean. 69.
Yeah, it was a good week. Yeah, obviously Haaland very helpful. But Martinelli, like basically that's all my points. Got you to thank for bringing in Zuma. So that was good the week from the week before. So that's he's delivered so far for me. Zuma's like, even if this is all he gives me, he's given me a couple of nice weeks. The only error I made was to leave out Solly March. I had to make the call. And of course, the time I decided to choose Matoma over Solly March,
and he was so unlucky. He had a disallowed goal. He should have had a penalty, which he would have got the assist for.
It was absolutely ridiculous. I
can't
believe the fact they've even apologised now is like, there should be court cases for stuff like this because it's an absolute joke. Like, it was so poor. and I couldn't believe it watching the highlights. I was just like, I wasn't really aware. I knew there'd been some controversy, but I didn't really realise what and who was involved. And I'm like in despair, just thinking, no, this could have been an even better week. But yeah, I can't complain. As I say, I'm on the up. Want to get rid of Kepa, want to get rid of Havertz. Probably won't be in the same week, but eventually I need to get away from those guys.
Well, it's good to see Kepa starting this evening because there is a fear that Mendy will come in and take that number 1 spot. But
yeah, no, I
it's
think he
still
will. I
Kepa's
think
to lose.
I think that Lampard literally will wait for him to make one mistake and then put Mendy in. Like I think it's that simple.
One bad game.
Yeah, honestly, I think he's thinking, well, I can't just take him out because I don't rate him. I've got to wait for him to make an error, and as soon as I do, I've got a reason to drop him. It's kind of. I think that's how Lampard works personally, but.
I think you're probably right. Let's just hope he doesn't have a bad game. I'm hoping he doesn't have a bad game because I think I'll probably not be using a goalkeeper transfer. Yeah, good week, mate. Plans moving forward loosely. You looking to keep or hold Rashford off the information we have?
At the moment, I think I'm going to ditch him. Yeah, I think I'll probably
get rid of him. Back in 34 if he's fit.
Exactly. I think that will be it. I think he can go for now. I think enough people will also make that same decision that it won't affect
because you're not free hitting in 32 as well. You may as well. It's a really easy sell for you.
Really easy sell. And I can start planning for that extra week. Yeah. So I think that's probably where my head's at right now.
Yeah. Unlike many, though, who will be targeting 32 with a free hit, you probably won't be buying Jack Grealish, I'm guessing, because he doesn't have a fixture in 32.
Exactly,
so go in for if you could get to Mo Salah for Rashford somehow. Although you'd have to sell Harry Kane, you don't want to do that. How much money you got in the bank? Could you go have? If you've got more than 2 million in the bank, you could go Havertz down to a 4 million player, just a bench fodder, and then Rashford to Salah.
Yeah, I got bank 1.6.
That you won't have enough for the Salah to Rashford move. If you sell Havertz, then you'll be about 1 million short.
It's no good. Yeah, I am. Yeah, at the moment, if I take out Rashford, sticking Salah, I'm 4.1 short. So, that's going to be difficult to make up anywhere unless I get rid of Kane. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's have a look at my team. Very similar score to Dean as well. I think I got 68 from memory. Although I did take a 4-point hit, unlike Dean. So look, it's kind of a 64-point week, which was still a green arrow. I had March in my 11, which was a touch. I Bruno benched, which was always going to be a risk, and it paid off. I just don't like Bruno playing deep, but he did create chances, even playing deep. But I just trust that Brighton attack more than United attack at the moment. Like Brighton midfielders, I do not want to be benching any week, really, including this week against Chelsea, guys. Play your Brighton mids. Bruno will be back playing in the 10 role very soon. Like Eriksen's back, Casemiro's back. Like that front three, that midfield three will look very different. And then Bruno becomes a much better option. So I'm happy with Bruno in my squad. My plans loosely are to probably sell Rico Henry to a Man City defender. I've got enough money for Ake, not enough for Diaz, who I prefer, but I'm happy with Ake. Then I've got Triple City. And then I don't have to play Havertz. I can play Ake. Although if I'm not playing Rashford, maybe I would be playing Havertz this week. If Rashford doesn't play and Henry comes in. Oh, no, because I'll be playing Bruno.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Havertz benched.
Yeah.
So, that's roughly how I'm looking. I'm pretty happy. And like you, I think we both had a few greens back to back, which is always a nice feeling.
Yeah. I don't know what the decision is that's getting us these greens necessarily, but what do you think is at the moment to have the edge? What do you think it is?
I don't know. Like I was surprised to see. It's only FPL Twitter. There's still a fair few managers without Haaland because they haven't been able to bring him back, and that's really cost them. Like 24 captain points for Haaland this week. If you didn't own him, stung.
Yeah, it might be that. It's true, actually. There's a couple of people that were doing really well in mini leagues, and they still are, obviously. But like both the leaders actually didn't have Haaland, and I was amazed they hadn't gone there. They go, I just couldn't get there.
So you take hits if you need to.
Take a hit to not miss out, surely at this point. But
yeah, I've seen a few good managers say, they don't have Haaland, but can't even get to him this week because it involve selling Harry Kane versus Bournemouth. It's like, that's fine. Like Spurs aren't flying. Like a lot of people said that about Maddison last week. I can't sell Maddison because he plays Bournemouth this week. Well, look what happened. Maddison blanked. Bournemouth looked much better. Bournemouth aren't the whipping boys in this league anymore.
Not anymore, no.
There are a handful of worse defences than Bournemouth. You know, Leeds and Leicester are two of them. So I don't expect Spurs to blow Bournemouth away by any stretch. I'm sure Kane will return, but Haaland versus Leicester is the one this week. If you don't own Haaland, find a way of getting him in, and he's almost certainly going to be your captain.
Yeah, we've got a hot take here from Kareem who says, I think Son and Salah will outscore Kane for the run-in. What do you reckon?
I don't know. Son is a streaky player and he scored a worldie last week. So you do wonder if he's about to go on some incredible run. But no, Kane will outscore Son. Salah outscore Kane? Yeah, I can see that with the fixtures.
Can you?
Fixtures are great for Liverpool.
Nice one, Kareem. Put it out there. Put it out there. I like it. I like it a lot. FPL Wolves says, I've done Matoma out and Elise, and I'm probably going to do Maddison out and Mahrez in for a differential to Grealish. Well, a lot of changes going on there. Yeah, I think a lot of people now will have lost all faith in Maddison. I mean, he deleted his Twitter account, didn't he, on the back of that error that he made?
Really?
Yeah, I think he went all out. Totally, like, yeah, lost everything. I mean, the interview actually gave after that game was quite sad. Like, he seemed so down. He was pretty average against Palace the week before. Just a completely blind pass that's cost him the game there. I think he was disappointed to see Brendan Rodgers go because he was his ally. One of the only reasons he was still at Leicester.
Yeah.
And he doesn't obviously want his Leicester career to end like this. I mean, there's a massive chance that Leicester were going down. One thing to say is that Dean Smith coming in, what we know about Dean Smith is so much hinges now on set pieces, and Maddison is on set pieces. So there actually might be reason to be turning back to him in a week or two.
Yeah, you might be right there. There we go. Well, that's my team. Let's have a look. We'll talk on Friday's stream about our transfers in and how we're set. But I think it's unlikely. Dean and I are getting a bit of stick in the chat for owning Havertz, but it's unlikely Havertz is going to be a feature for either of us in terms of in our 11. There's a good chance I don't sell him this week or even next, but that's because I've got other plans. But he'll have to rot on my bench. I don't see weeks where I'm starting Havertz in my 11. So yeah, it's a shame. We both want rid, but you can't have 15 good players all the time. You're sometimes left with Deadwood. That's FPL.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where we stand on it. Let's have a look at some of the guys that got bonus points over the weekend that perhaps will raise a few eyebrows because there's some good FPL options in our bonus points feature. So I want to show you guys our top two. Here we go. So this was a surprising one. And if Luke Shaw is out for a while, well, here's a very good FPL option. And look, Ten Hag said I doesn't think he'll be out for too long or something like that earlier today. But he's definitely ruled out Thursday night's game. But Malacia is a 4.2 option to a Man United defence at the moment and picks up the bonus points. I was really surprised at this. In a 2-0 win where he didn't get a goal, he didn't get an assist, he picked up the bonus because his clearances were high, his tackles were high, interceptions. Pass rate was so high, like 54 passes for any player in any game is really high. Like a Premier League player probably averages, I'm taking a punt here, but probably around 25 passes a game, 30. So 54 is super high.
Yeah.
Clearly comfortable on the ball and used a lot by his team. It's just a shame with Luke Shaw back, he won't get a look in. But if we were to hear Luke Shaw's going to be out for longer than we think, then he's a nice option. What do you reckon, Dean?
Yeah, it's an interesting option, isn't he? I mean, whenever he plays, he actually does pretty well. I think he's been a good signing for Man United.
Yeah, very good.
You know, most of us didn't know a lot about him when he arrived, but Ten Hag obviously does. Watched a lot of him in Holland before for getting to bring him over to the Premier League with him. I really, really like him. As you say, once Shaw's back, he won't be in that team, but he's a very, very reliable backup. And you know, the United team that are reasonably good and comfortable and at the back a lot of the time. I think he's somebody you should probably consider at 4.2. I think that's very good value.
Yeah. United just aren't there for me, says Chat Sport. Yeah, I was surprised at the clean sheet, to be honest, because going into this fixture, I was kind of thinking, oh, United defence, they're conceding tons of chances. They're not keeping cleans anymore. But then against Everton, they looked pretty good at the back. Like Everton had a couple of chances. You get that in any Premier League game. But again, they're starting to show signs of, okay, they can keep clean sheets again. So I don't hate that United backline by any stretch. And again, they're owed a double game week. I think United are a team. Target might be a bit strong, but I think we should be open to buying United assets. I don't think Malacia is the asset to buy because of Luke Shaw, but I think there will become some good options away from the obvious, Bruno and Rashford. Maybe it's Lautaro. I don't know. Martinez. I don't know. Not Lautaro Martinez. What's his name?
Lisandro Martinez.
Lisandro.
United have actually kept 4 clean sheets since they were beaten like a month ago by Liverpool 7-0. Yeah, so it's, over the course of, I think that'll be 7 games. I think 4 of the games have ended with a clean sheet. So, Everton didn't score, Brentford didn't score, Betis didn't score, and Southampton didn't score against them. So they do actually have a reasonable clean sheet record if you just try and put things into context away from that Liverpool game.
Dean, do we know when Mitro's back? I'm just replying to the question that's come up in the chat.
Southampton at home,
isn't it?
Yeah, Southampton at home. Yeah.
So is that game week like 37 or something?
36, I think. Yeah.
So he'll have 3 games before the end of the season.
3 games. Yeah. Then he has.
Southampton away 36.
Is it away? Yeah. So Southampton, then someone, then Man United away.
Palace at home 37.
Yeah.
So if Mitro comes back, that 36-37 game.
Oh, mate, it's great.
Southampton and Palace for a fit Mitro.
Yeah, and Man United too, because that's the place where he got the ban, and he's fuming about it. So if Man United season's done and the last day of the season, and they've got a cup final, say, looming, I can actually see Mitro scoring there too. So actually, he might be back in as soon as he's fit again.
Will this be the moment you actually buy Mitro?
Yeah, but why not? Why not end my season with a bang? 3 Fulham players in for the last 3 weeks.
I love that. All right, well, let's have a look at our next bonus beast. This one might also surprise you, but this is a guy that's gone proper under the radar this season. And I get it, he doesn't play for a fashionable club, but Billing's been, I think, Bournemouth's player of the season. I think he was probably Bournemouth's player of the season last year in their promotion push. When he was at Huddersfield and before that, we always saw Billing as a DM. He was a DM. But last year at Bournemouth, the year they got promoted to the Premier League, he was playing as a number 10. And I can't remember off the top of my head, but he got a ton of goals and assists. And again, this season, we're starting to see goals and assists from a guy that historically we've known, certainly in FPL when he was at Huddersfield. We always saw him as a DM. But he can get forward, and his runs into the box, his timing's very good, and he gets on the end of a lot of crosses. So when we look at Billing's goals and assists this season, it's not bad at all. He's got 7 goals, 1 assist. Now, for a guy that's 1.3% owned and 5.2 million, I like him a lot. Will I be buying him? I doubt it. But when we look at those fixtures for the 3 of the next 4, West Ham, Southampton, Leeds, you wouldn't be surprised to see him get points in 2 of those 3 greens.
Yeah, he's not a sexy name, is he? You're not going to be desperate to bring him in. But there are definitely other players that that you would actually consider bringing in on that form and with that fixture list.
Yeah, if his name wasn't Philip Billing, I think there's a good chance. Or if he didn't play for Bournemouth but was putting up these sorts of numbers. But I was confident Bournemouth would beat Leicester. I think Bournemouth have been playing quite good football of late, even though the results haven't all gone to plan. But they're looking like a team now that's given themselves a chance. I think they end the season with some tricky fixtures. So they need points in those 3 games against West Ham, Southampton, Leeds. Because I think their running is, okay, their last 4 is Chelsea, Palace, but at Selhurst Park, difficult place to go. United, Everton. It's not the worst running, but it's not the easiest.
No, definitely. Yeah, it's a weird one to judge that, isn't it?
Have you been impressed by Bournemouth and Billing in particular, Dean? Because they're a better team than we give them credit for, I think.
They are. I mean, I wrote them off, didn't I? I was very disrespectful of them when we predicted our bottom 3. I gave them absolutely no chance, and since then they've beaten my team, Fulham. They've produced some decent performances, but yeah, they do actually look quite good at the moment. I did not see this coming, though. Not see it at all.
They've got a goal difference of -29, which the only team worse than that is Nottingham Forest, -30. And knowing it's so tight down there, I just wonder if a team goes down on goal difference. That would be heartbreaking. But goal difference, a bit like winning the title, like you're looking at goal difference and going, that's an extra point when you look at Arsenal and Man City.
Yeah.
And when I look at those teams down there, Leicester -12, Leeds -15, Bournemouth -29, Forest -30, like that goal difference becomes an extra point, and it'd be heartbreaking if one of those teams went down for goal difference.
Oh god, it'd be so hard to take.
Should be a
yeah,
playoff
sorry.
if that ever happens, shouldn't it? It shouldn't go down.
Oh,
to
it
goal
should.
difference. You've got to have
Yeah,
a playoff at a neutral venue or a two-legged playoff, which I think they might do in some other leagues. I'm pretty sure that's the
everyone
thing.
would be happier with that, wouldn't they? Quick one. Eddie says, "Hi, Jan and Dina. I won't be able to see Friday's show as I'll be away. Should I do a -4 Diaz and Grealish in, Gabriel and Saka? I'm free hitting in 32.
Do you have to -4? Could you just do one of those moves? Like,
Yeah, I
I
was
think
gonna
I'd
say,
be
I don't
happy
know
just
if-
going Grealish in and leaving
Yeah,
Gabriel.
I don't know. I see
Or
the
vice
benefit
versa.
of the second one. Yeah, I think that's probably where my head was at there too. I don't think I would do the second one. Let us
I
know,
like
Eddie.
both those moves. I'm just not sure if they're hit moves. I
don't
think
know,
maybe you
yeah.
do those moves over 2 weeks.
I don't know what the upside is to get those points back. That's probably what I'd be against there. Let us know what your thinking is, mate.
Yeah. There we go.
Jenny
Good question,
rank
though.
Nunez, Gakpo, and Jota as FPL options. Here we go. Ranks FC. That's tough, actually.
I mean, 2 of them are listed as forwards and 1 a midfielder. Earlier in the season, Darwin would be our number ones, but
He would have. But I mean, Gakpo's probably number 1, isn't he?
I think he has to be because he's the. If we're looking at expected minutes, Gakpo is our top 4 most likely to start.
Yeah. And he can score. So Gakpo, then Nunez, then Jota probably for me.
I think I'm with you.
Think
I'm with you. Jota could come in at 2. Was it against Arsenal? We went with Jota over Darwin. And I wonder where they are in the pecking order because Darwin hasn't been efficient in front of goal and Jota earned the penalty.
Yeah, I don't know what the thinking was with that one, but yeah.
He likes
it's
Jota.
really tight.
Klopp.
I like Jota. I mean, I prefer Jota as a player to Nunez, obviously, but for FPL, I don't know if that's true.
Yeah. I like players that get big chances, and Darwin gets more big chances than the other 2. So if they're all starters, Darwin would be my number 1. But yeah, I think it has to be Gakpo at the moment. Good question, though. Good question.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, love a ranks question. Keep your questions coming in. We've got a couple of minutes. We've got 1 minute left. We might be able to do 2 questions.
I mean, Firmino will get some minutes, Mark. It's just we don't really know when they're going to come. I mean,
last season.
Yeah, I saw some quotes from him about that, and he said, I think he said, I'm praying that my career ends here and that I get the chance to make an impact or something like that. So he is clearly desperate to end this with a bang. And, looking at Liverpool's fixtures, they're definitely the potential to do that. I don't think there's going to be many in this game backing Firmino. There's probably too much at stake for people at this point to have him as the differential. But he might surprise us.
Yeah, I think he'll come on a bit. Starts are a push. I think starts are tough because he's not in next season as well, and Klopp is trying to build something.
Yeah, I agree.
Starts. I think that's our last question coming in from Chris. Shaw and Rashford replacements. Watkins, I wonder if we've missed the boat on Watkins. And I'll speak for me and Dean about this. Like every week he punishes us. Like a lot of my mini league rivals are on Watkins, and it's so 95th minute. It's heartbreaking.
I can't believe
Jesus
it.
is an interesting one though.
Yeah, Jesus, we haven't missed out on yet. I think Jesus actually is a very, very good option. I think that I could end up with Jesus, but for the run-in, and I still think that there's potential for that. Watkins, like you say, I just feel like jumping on him now, I might have missed all of the upside to it. He's obviously going to score a few goals between now and the end of the season, but can he really carry on this goal scoring rate? I don't think so.
It's not
I don't
sustainable.
think so. I don't think it is.
Oh, I hope not. Luke Shaw replacements, by the way. I don't know if you need them, but if you do, you might be back in a week. If you do, then Man City defense, 100%. Ake, Diaz, if you can afford him. Guys, thank you so much for watching. It's been awesome doing a slightly different time slot. I hope we've caught a new wave of audience. And look, make sure if you are new around here, you subscribe to the channel and hit that like button before you leave as well. We'll be back in 48 hours time though, 7 p.m. Friday. Do not miss Friday's stream. It will be a good one. I promise you that. But for now, he's been Dean, I've been Janey, and we've been chasing green arrows.